All right, all right.
So I haven't seen anyone comment in the chat. That means nobody's watching right now.
Cool. That means we could just speak freely then.
I think we do. I think we do. No matter. Oh, there's some people jumping on. I think we do no matter what, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I was kind of thinking of like, what is our goal with this stream? And I was talking to Fee about it, and I was like, we're not really here to educate people or show them sources. It's really just us speaking freely about things that we're interested in, world topics, and yeah, it's just our opinion on it.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit.
Okay.
I do think we educate a little bit. I mean, there's.
Well, I guess in the sense, so we're not pulling up stats and stuff like that on things that we're talking about.
No, but like last week we talked about Epstein and we talked about his history. Nothing we said in his history, till his death was our opinion. It was facts.
Okay, so we bring up facts because our opinions are based off of facts. We're not just making this shit up out of nowhere. But we weren't really like showing the entire list and where it came from and going through the documents.
That's true. Yeah, and
maybe we could have.
But anyway, welcome everybody. So actually, last week we didn't have a podcast because I was while it was -15 here in the States, I was in the Caribbean and my signal was not good enough. We tested it, and we are on Saturday night because I was on a plane late last night, and but we should be on track for weekly. We might move the days around a little bit, but we're back on track for weekly for quite a while, I think.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. You ain't going to South America or Asia anytime soon, right?
I'm not traveling. I have no plans going anywhere this year at all, to be honest. So I am freezing though. We're here, North Indy, and what is it, like 7 degrees today? Got a lot of snow.
Well, I was north of you all week. Remember, I was going to come down this weekend because I was in Detroit all week, and I have to go back to Detroit on Monday. I was hoping someone would offer me Lions playoff tickets, and I actually know people who had them, and nobody offered, so I flew back home. But
are you a Seinfeld guy or no?
No,
because there was a great episode where they were getting tickets from a guy, but Jerry didn't give him a good thank you, and George was all paranoid that he wasn't going to offer him tickets to the next game because he didn't thank him. And then, but he finally got Jerry to call him, and he's like, "Oh, I wish you would have called me. I just gave him away." So it was just funny.
So speaking of playoffs, right now in 15 minutes, the next divisional playoff game kicks off. It is the Niners versus the Packers. I'm not going to look at the chat because I have it on pause upstairs, and when we're done in an hour, that's where I'm going. But
shout out to everybody in the chat though, and everybody watching on the replay. We got 3 topics for this stream. The thumbnail you can see is Jem's personal 3 biggest scams of your life. So I think we'll save that towards the end. And again, based on my personal opinion. And what's funny is we've wanted to talk about this personally, and you were like, let's wait till we bring it up on the show. So I know that I feel like they're scams, and I'm interested to see what you think about it. But besides that, we were looking to see like what's the hot topic on the news. The only really big thing was the whole Trump winning the Iowa caucus, and I always called him Vivek, but I guess how do you pronounce? That's not Vivek. How you pronounce it.
It's like Vivek.
No, it's not Vivek.
Ramaswamy. Vivek. Just call him by his last name.
Ramaswamy dropping out, and this whole rumor that he may be the VP.
Let me put a pause to that. So a day before the Iowa caucus, and if you're unfamiliar with what a caucus is, you're similar to 80% of Americans. So
what the hell is a caucus? I didn't know what it was.
I'm not an expert on it, but I know that caucuses are preliminary voting where they get enough delegates to be nominated as the party nomination for that year. And Iowa's always the first one, so it always gets a lot of attention because it kind of gives a feel where a lot of Americans, sit, especially because Iowa is very dynamic. So I've worked in Iowa. Sometimes I still do. I was there 2 months ago. So Iowa, you have good old farming. People that believe it or not, Des Moines, it almost has 1 million people in their metro. So it's getting to be a big city, but Iowa was also very progressive too. Like they were one of the first states to legalize gay marriage. So what you traditionally see like with conservative values, so that's why Iowa's really important because it speaks for a lot of different personalities.
No, but I like how you explain that. So it kind of sets the tone on what's the GOP looking like, and Trump won it by a landslide.
Well, and before that, I think it's it looks like it's Vivek. Is it Vivek or Vivek?
It's Vivek.
Commented.
It's Vivek. That's
Vivek.
What it is.
Okay.
Not Vivek, but Vivek.
Right before it, because this is where the controversy went, and the liberal media loved this. Yeah. Trump on his social platform, which I don't follow, but
I've never seen it, and I've only seen screenshots of it. Truth.
Yeah,
Social,
I only see news when he goes. Anyone who votes for Ramaswamy is voting against democracy. They're voting against Trump. He is not MAGA. Make no mistake. Which up until then, Vivek had been so friendly. Like, when Trump was banned from the Colorado and Maine ballots, Vivek said, "I'm not going on those ballots either." And
he's always been a huge supporter, and he actually I've seen a lot of people on Twitter not happy with that reaction from Trump. They're kind of like, "Oh, this is a mistake." Everybody liked Vivek as the VP for Trump, but the thing I didn't trust about Vivek was that he said that he wouldn't take the VP position. This was while he was running. That he didn't have like a plan B in his mind. He just wanted to run and be president, this and that. And I didn't like that about him, because I was like, okay, you're putting yourself first. You're not putting the country first. But he did show his true colors when he dropped out of the race and endorsed Trump after the Iowa caucus. So I'm a fan of Vivek, man. I like him. He's smart as hell. I can't believe he's my age. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's like, obviously we weren't alive during JFK days, but I wonder if it was very similar, for now. The thing with Vivek is, we kind of did this as a teaser, because initially, all of a sudden, when he endorsed Trump and Trump is now hugging him and saying what a great guy he is after all the drama happened, everyone's like, he wants that VP. But the truth is, this is going to be a really short segment. There is no way in hell he's going to be, it is my opinion, no way in hell he's going to be the VP, because every single presidential candidate picks a VP that is opposite of their qualities.
Yeah, he's very similar, right?
He is. Yeah, I mean, you think about those people that, first of all, Trump is a narcissist. I don't think Vivek's a narcissist, but he doesn't care about hurting feelings just like Trump doesn't.
Well, when he started going crazy at the GOP debates, I was like, this feels like 2016 Trump, the way he's attacking people and coming at them and like low blows and stuff, which I liked as a non-political person. I was like, oh shit, get him. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's interesting. But how come there's never a strong VP? It's like always this super weak VP on both sides.
There's been strong VPs that became presidents, just not in our lifetime lately.
I guess that's what I mean. Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of our great presidents were VPs.
Joe Biden was a VP that became president.
There's some exceptions, I think, but here's the thing.
Yeah,
the way that Vivek and Trump act, the government is a business. Make no mistake. I mean, they make more money than anybody, right? So I run businesses, and you don't know how many times, like, I'll have an employee who makes six figures be like, hey, employee, I'm Mr. X, Mr. Y. We have to do X, Y, Z. This is how you do it. This is why we're doing it. Does that make sense? Yeah, we should do that. So I expect you to do it, X, Y, Z tomorrow. You got this? It's your top priority. Yeah, I got this. 2 days go by, they don't do X, Y, Z. And I want to shake them and say, are you a fucking moron? But
this sounds like me not making the thumbnail in time for this episode.
Hey man, I was good with you. I was very polite. It was bothering me. I couldn't tell. But I have to be politically correct, and so do the leaders of this country. Because here's the other thing: what kind of example does that set for children?
Right. Yeah.
Trump does not set a good example for our children, and a lot of politicians don't. Nancy Pelosi doesn't.
Yeah, but look, there's Bill Clinton. I mean, come on, like you could go down to look. Is Joe Biden a good example for our children? Hell no.
Well, for a they probably remind him of their great grandfather.
But what's funny that you mentioned, like the establishment doesn't want Vivek the same way they don't want Trump. That's what's so crazy about it, man. Like they were doing everything to during the caucuses, it only showed like the top three candidates: Trump, Haley, and DeSantis. And Vivek, you didn't even see. You had to click on like show more. But they didn't want him part of the debates. It was like a whole big thing. They were trying to blackball him the same way they're trying to get Trump out of here as well. So I don't know. That's kind of interesting. If they would team up, it's two of America's most wanted are the president and the VP.
So Nathan in the chat hit the nail on the head. He goes, they both attract the same type of voters.
And so there's not like that balance, right?
Correct. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris for many reasons,
No.
and most of the reasons are after she was vice president for a while.
She was polling at 2% when she was running for president. Like even Democrats don't like Kamala.
But she brought in, some great votes because we do have a very serious balance of power when it comes to racial and ethnicity in our governments. We do. It's sad, and I don't believe we have systemic racism is probably a topic for another.
or DEI, because we could have talked about DEI, especially with what's going on with Elon Musk and Mark Cuban on Twitter, and like this whole thing that's going on with DEI. It looks like DEI is not as popular as it was even a year ago. Man, so maybe we'll put that on the table for another one.
Yep. Yeah, so overall, there was a slight rumor maybe he's going to be, but I said this from the beginning, and this is before we had the podcast when you and I would shoot the shit. Yeah. I think he had no intentions to be president in 2024. I think he wanted to make his name, splash it hard, so in 2028, because let's face it, right?
But that's what everybody said when he dropped out and he gave his endorsement to Trump. Really, everyone, all Trump supporters, like, all right, great, man.
2028.
He made a name for himself. 2028, let's go. Like, you're primed and ready to go. You're young still. And so, conservatives are on board with the Vivek train. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
Well, you got to remember that no matter who wins this next election, and most likely it's going to be Biden and Trump as the nominees, most likely. And, we'll talk about conspiracy theories later because I know we both have them. But it's going to be the same divided shit show for the next 5 years that it has been the last 3 years.
The only thing is, like, Trump ended his last presidency. You had the George Floyd situation and you had the COVID situation. So everybody wanted anybody else. Let's give somebody else a chance. And now they lived under Biden for 3, it'll be 4 years. And it seems like a lot of people have seen what that looks like and do not want to live like that for another 4 years.
I disagree, man. I follow, both, conservative and liberal people on Twitter, and I read the comments, and there are so many people that love Biden to death.
That's crazy, man. I could understand not liking Trump. I cannot understand supporting Biden.
I mean, one of the topics I want to do for a show is there's certain people on both the right and the left side that I follow on Twitter that are so obsessed. Like every single post they do is about Trump, or every single post they do is about Biden. And I love to troll those people. So one day we got to just go through their feeds and like look at it. Like, my God, in this lady, this liberal lady named J.O. something, every single tweet 4 times a day is about Trump. And
or they'll tweet like Trump for prison 2024. And I'm like, you really think that these are real charges? All these bullshit charges. We should have talked about these DAs that are prosecuting Trump and how they're being found to be guilty of things like Fannie Willis. Now she's got this whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Situation where, I don't know I guess you're not familiar with it. You're not looking like
I was reading comments.
Oh yeah. So Fannie Willis, this whole scandal with her using taxpayer money and all this stuff.
You know what topic we should have done today? Chris in the chat just reminded me because he's from Texas. We should have done about the Texas governor stopping the border patrol and those people dying.
So you have that, and then so you have orders from the Biden administration to let these people in, and I guess what's his name, Greg Abbott, is giving orders to not let anybody in. And then I think Texas is still technically considered their own republic, if I'm not mistaken. So. I thought I saw something like that they're still really considered they're the Lone Star State. But it could come to a head. But what's crazy is what the Biden administration, what their orders are unconstitutional. It's like, how do they even stand on what they're trying to tell Texas to do? Well, and then to take it one step further, then you have Texas saying, okay, we're taking them in. They're shipping them to sanctuary cities. And now they're pissed off. It's like, bro, you're a sanctuary city. Why would you? Texas is not a sanctuary city or state.
So the reason I brought this up, these same people that, always post negative about Trump, all of them said arrest Greg Abbott for murder because some people
That's
died.
crazy.
Because every single one. I'm like, he didn't murder anybody. I mean, I mean,
so when I heard you say, I didn't really catch that. So what happened? What's the big thing with people that died now with this?
so he wasn't letting the border patrol, the federal border agents, guard where they usually guard. Essentially, that's kind of an oversimplification. And mother and children who were trying to cross the river to enter the United States illegally drowned. Now, if the border agents were there, not only would they have been able to save them, but they would have welcomed them into the U.S. And it's like, if a criminal is committing a crime and they die on their own, and don't get me wrong, any loss of life, unless
it's super sad. But see,
unless you're a murderer or molester,
I look at it like it's the Biden administration's fault that they're telling these people to come here. They're telling people to come to this country illegally, which is crazy, man. Like, and I'm not against immigration, but there's a legal way and there's an illegal way for a reason. That's super sad though that they died trying to come here, man. That's fucked up.
Which this will talk good into your scam about
my three scams, my three biggest scams.
One of them. It was on the thumbnail.
But
let's do the fun stuff first before we dive into that. You good with that?
So we're done with the political stuff, I guess. Though the Trump thing. So I guess New Hampshire is the next type of caucus vote. Am I saying it right? I'm not. I'm just learning this shit as we go here.
I've been so busy the last 2 weeks, haven't had a chance.
New Hampshire is next, unless it already happened. I think I would have saw something about it though.
Yeah, no, that would have been all over the news.
Right. This guy Trump is going from these elections to these court hearings, and he's got his mother-in-law's funeral, and all. It's crazy, man.
All right. So next topic, we're trying to do something that's in the news. Is always our agenda every week. And then number 2 is pop culture related stuff, because we know some of the people that view our other channels that are really pop culture related. And then the last one, which we'll talk about, is kind of our own topics of stuff. So that's we're going to go Jem's biggest scams of all time. But the next one you saw in the title, best movie sequels of all time. And we don't have the worst on here. We're going to kind of live react to a list we haven't looked at yet. But then we're going to kind of talk about some of the worst ones. Which is going to be kind of hard, I think. But let me share this.
Hopefully the site still exists.
It does. I checked. All right, let's see. Let's do. So this is based off of. All right, this is ranked by fans. All right, so it's
I already know which one's going to be up there. It's not one of the number ones.
Yeah. So what's your guess for a number 1?
Terminator 2.
Okay. So in full disclosure, it is number 1. That's the only one I saw, and I scrolled to the bottom. So.
That's the greatest sequel of all time.
I was watching it today. So I was eating lunch, and I was watching TV, and I was watching Peacock, and my internet went out. So I was like, "Fuck, I got to watch cable." And Terminator 2 was on. So
first of all, if you're flipping through channels on cable, and Terminator 2 comes on, you're watching the rest of it, no matter where it starts. Speaking of Arnold. So Fee, if she's still watching, she loves Total Recall. She has like a nostalgia thing for it. She likes it, or it reminds her of her childhood with her dad.
Does she like the Colin Farrell one?
I disagree with you. No, that's what we're supposed to watch. We're probably gonna watch that tonight or something.
Okay.
I think it held up, man. I mean, there was some bad prosthetics, but it still was super fun. And we watched it with our kids and everything, man. I thought it held up. I was surprised on how well it held up.
Get your ass to Mars. All right.
The Hobbit. Right away, I've seen these movies once. Never cared about Hobbit or any of this Harry Potter. Yeah.
It shouldn't even be in here. I couldn't agree more. MIB 2 is horrible.
Whack. First of all, they should have never made any others, but the first one is a certified classic. I love the first one. And I'm a huge fan of Will Smith, man. I'm so sad to see what's happened to him over the last few years. Fresh Prince.
Did you know him and Michael B. Jordan are doing I Am Legend 2?
I'm down to see that.
Yeah.
I'm a Will Smith fan, man. Like, I hate what happened. The Oscar slap was mad embarrassing. His wife is always embarrassing him.
Let me ask you this. You know the classic Uncle Phil scene in Fresh Prince when his father doesn't want him?
Why he don't want me, man?
Yeah,
I still every time I see it.
I still tear up, man.
Bro, every now and then it'll come across reels on Instagram. I always have to watch it, and it's always like it's a tearjerker every time.
So did you watch? I think it's on HBO Max, or it was. They had a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion.
Reunion or the remake that they did?
So that's on Peacock. No, the reunion. They got all the cast members except Shredder because he's dead. James Avery, if you guys didn't know, Uncle Phil played the voice of Shredder.
First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
Yeah, but they had everybody come on, and it was so emotional. Like, I don't know if you know how they switch moms halfway through?
Yes.
Will Smith got the first mom fired because he didn't like her.
Yeah. I saw all that stuff. Like she was difficult to work with, and
he apologizes to her on this reunion.
Oh, so I did see this then. I saw this whole thing, yes. And wasn't it also showing how he would like rile the crowd up before the episodes when they were filming and all that? I'm a big fan of Will Smith, man. I Am Legend 2, I gotta go see.
From James Russia Bond. With Love, I think this is great. I'm a huge Bond fan. I watched 2 old Bonds today, one on the way to this week, one on the way to Detroit, one on the way back. You're not a Bond
one
guy,
time.
right?
So before I got, well, actually, it was before I started the channel, but early where I started the Instagram page, I was collecting Blu-rays. And one time I went to Best Buy. I think a new James Bond movie was in theaters, so they had every James Bond movie as a Blu-ray, and they were pretty inexpensive. So I bought them all. I started watching them from the beginning, and I was like, "Yo, this shit is boring as hell, man." So even the omnibus, some of them were good though. Like the Pierce Morgan one, I wanted to get to GoldenEye because I grew up playing that on N64. But I bought all of them, and I started watching them, and I realized I wasn't really into them. But
some of the old ones are good.
Octopussy and all these weird ass old ones.
Yeah.
Yo, Age of Ultron.
I'd say that 47 seems about right.
I'm a huge fan of Age of Ultron. It's often looked at as not a good movie, but I'm a huge fan of it. 47. So so this is the top 50. Okay, I'm glad it's on the list.
Yep. I've never seen these. I've been on all the Universal rides. My kids love it.
Never seen
the Universal rides are cute. It's very comical. So maybe
I haven't been to Universal in a long time, man. Maybe since like 2013 or some shit.
We go every year. Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Great movie, but we're doing part 3s as sequels now. Is that considered a sequel?
This is the first time I've seen the list, man.
Guardians 3 was better than Guardians. It was better than Guardians 2.
Not horrible.
2 was not as good as 1, and 3 was better than 2. Yeah, agree with you.
I love Blade 2.
I remember liking. Well, I don't think it's better than Blade, the first movie, though.
No. I agree.
Yeah, Blade 2
way better
was good.
than 3, though.
Yeah, 3 sucked, right? With Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds was in a lot of bad comic book movies.
Yeah, he was. No, I love the Reaper creature. I love how badass he was in this.
Yeah.
What was Desperado a sequel to?
I don't even know, right? I don't think I've even seen it. I remember Antonio Banderas in Desperado. When did this come out? Like 95? Yep, exactly. I remember just seeing ads and like previews for this movie, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
So the reason I remember this movie is 2-1. One, Quentin Tarantino tells a funny-ass joke in the beginning. He's in it. I don't think it's not by him. And then 2, Salma Hayek, when it came out in 95, I was a teenager. She gets all kind of naked in it.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised I don't hear more about it because you always hear about her in the movie From Dusk Till Dawn.
No, she is tame in that movie compared to this one.
Fee's already in the chat like, we're not watching that.
Blade Runner, I haven't seen this one. Have you?
I don't think I've seen this one. I saw the original one, but I haven't seen this one. No.
I love Clint Eastwood. I'm a huge Clint Eastwood fan. It's rare there's a Clint Eastwood movie I don't love. So, I mean, I wouldn't say this is one of the best, but it's a good movie.
I don't think I've ever seen any Clint Eastwood movies.
Not even like Gran Torino or any of the recent ones or Mule?
Nothing.
Oh,
Never.
Man, you got to watch some of his recent stuff.
Fee, have you ever seen a Clint Eastwood movie? That's probably one you've seen with your dad. We're not.
But what's funny about our culture, you still know the classic lines. Go ahead, make my day, punk. It's like
but I know that probably from like watching The Mask or like some kind of like Animaniacs or something. Like, what's funny? Like I watched 2001: A Space Odyssey. I didn't watch the movie, but I watched like this breakdown on YouTube where I might as well watch the whole movie. And it's like I've seen so many classic scenes that The Simpsons recreated before I've actually seen the original one.
The actual movie?
I
did for both Beverly Hill Cop movies.
No, I've seen it. I haven't. I don't know if I've seen. They have a new one coming out, is what it is. But I couldn't tell you which one was the first, second one, or whatever. The third
Yeah,
one. I don't
exactly.
forget how they made.
You know, I did like the new Star Trek movies. I dig some of the old ones too, like a 2, 4, and 6.
The old ones I couldn't really get into. They were a little too dated, but I enjoyed the J.J. Abrams ones. But they haven't been keeping up with them. I think there's a new one coming out though.
Well, this is the one with Khan, I think. Carl Urban.
Khan? No, but that's not. There's also an older one with Khan though. That's the second one is with Khan, I think.
Yeah, this is the sequel. Oh, of the old ones. Yeah, the old one, number 2, is with Khan. But it's Hunger Games, Catching Fire.
I heard with Star Trek, every other movie is good.
In the first one, yes, 2, 4, and 6. That's 100% accurate. 1, 3, and 5 are shit.
Yeah.
Hunger Games, Catching Fire.
We recently rewatched all of the Hunger Games movies and all of the Divergent series movies.
I did that with my daughter like a year ago. They're good. They're good. I mean,
they're girl movies, but they're good.
Rush Hour 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Jackie Chan fan. Rumble in the Bronx is my shit.
It was good. I wouldn't say it's one of the best sequels of all time. That's a little overrated.
Yeah, especially way over like Age of Ultron and stuff.
Yeah. I love the Naked Gun movies, man.
I can never stand
Naked Gun 2.5 has my favorite scene of any comedy movie of all time.
What's that?
So Leslie Nielsen he's a cop, and he goes down to the docks to try and get some information. So he's questioning one of the hooligans or whatever you want to call him down there. And the guy's like, "I'm sorry, I don't remember anything." And then Leslie Nielsen pulls out a 20, and he goes, "What about now? Would you remember now?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, that refreshes my memory." And then the guy goes, "Well, why do you want to know?" And then Leslie Nielsen goes, "I don't remember. Maybe a 20 will refresh my memory." And they keep giving the money back and forth.
I think I've seen that bit.
I did not like the Evil Dead movies, man.
I've never seen any of them.
They're not good.
How'd this get so big all of a sudden?
I hit Zoom or something, but it works. Maybe. No, this is not true at all. Temple of Doom. That is.
I was never.
Crusade better be higher because Crusade was better than Temple of Doom.
I think I've seen him once here and there. These Indiana Jones movies, but.
How do you call yourself a social influencer when?
I don't call myself that.
Dead Man's Chest. Which one was that?
I couldn't tell you.
The first one was good. Yeah.
How many did they make of these movies too, right?
There's like 6 now. I don't think Johnny Depp's in the last ones, but.
That's messed up.
You know, these new Planet of the Apes movies, I think they're cool, but I don't even remember them.
I remember mostly from The Simpsons. Get your hands off me, you dirty ape. Do you ever watch? Are you big on The Simpsons or no?
No, but I've seen it. I don't get to keep up.
I like the remakes of Planet of the Apes. They were fun. Oh, Addams Family Values I liked a lot. Yo.
I agree. Yeah, I think it surpassed number 1 actually.
Yeah, isn't that where the kids go to summer camp and all that?
Yep. Yeah, that's the best scene. Then when they're about to like break bread, and then she goes, "Wait, you have stolen from my people, and now I must burn your village to the ground." And
Uncle Fester, he's supposed to get married to that lady or
crazy
whatever.
Lady.
Yeah.
Do you remember the end? She has them all trapped in electrocution chairs.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Did any of you really love me?" And Raul Julia, may rest in peace. He goes, "Hands," and all their hands are tied down, so no one can raise their hand that they actually loved her. And then he goes kill them all. No.
Oh, that was the one with the terrible The Rock CGI, wasn't it?
No, that was the third one. That was the Scorpion King.
Scorpion King. But then they made a whole movie with that, I think. Scorpion King movie.
Yeah, this was not good.
No.
I disagree with that.
Hell no.
Far From Home. So which one is that? Was that when they were in
That's
Europe?
Mysterio. Yep.
Yeah, that was good. I
Why the hell is Spider-Man in Europe for an entire movie when he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, New York City? You never see him in another country. It's crazy to me, man.
What I loved about that is they took a character like Mysterio, who you and I know from comic origins is badass.
No, Mysterio, they did justice. I liked Mysterio.
Yep. And Jake Gyllenhaal, I think, is an amazing actor. And I loved I thought that was a great film. So I'm sure you know this, but Superman 2 was Superman 1. You know that, right?
I don't know. What do you mean by that?
So they filmed Superman 1 and 2 together. They filmed the whole thing, but it was too long. So Richard Donner cut it in half. Then when he had the time to go back and like fill in some blanks for Superman 2, so they didn't reshoot it, but added some scenes, Gene Hackman wouldn't sign on. So they actually use a stunt double for Gene Hackman, and you can tell when it's only the back of his head and it's a different voice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know the lore behind this. I've seen these movies, and I remember having the Blu-ray for like Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. So I guess that was just like an extended version of 2.
The best scene in this is at the end, though, when he kneels before Zod and says, "Take my hand," and then he plays it, and the John Williams music starts.
See, this was a little bit before my time. My first like comic book movie experiences are with the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Did I ever tell you I was in San Francisco, and this was back in '89, and back then they didn't have computerized systems. They just sold tickets, so they oversold it. So we had to sit on the stairs to watch it.
Oh, geez.
We didn't even have a seat.
Humble beginnings of Mr. X. Kill Bill Volume 2, this shouldn't be here because it's really one movie, right? Like it's a part 1 and part 2. It's like one whole thing.
Well, then you can make the argument for The Hobbit, or I bet you there's probably a
Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Yeah, I would say that. It's really just broken up because it's too damn long for one movie.
I'm a huge Tarantino fan. There's rarely I love probably 90% of his films.
Yeah, me too. All right, keep going. Whatever. Harry Potter, great.
Yeah, that's hard to.
And then it's like, and you don't know which one's which. They don't. It's not like Harry Potter 2, The Secret of the Swords, or whatever.
This is the second one. I know. My daughter's a huge Harry Potter fan.
Bourne Supremacy. Never got into these. It's Jason. Jesus Christ! It's Jason Bourne.
You seen that meme where that kid playing soccer?
There's a few of them like that when they do that, though.
No, this should not be on the list.
What do you mean? It should be higher on the list.
This is a horrible film.
Please tell me you're joking right now. Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Michelle Pfeiffer.
I didn't say the characters were horrible. I said the film was horrible.
No, you're crazy. This is one of the best Batman movies of all time. Batman Returns, and I do like it more than the first Batman movie. This is, maybe I'm a little bit biased. This is like my childhood Batman movie right here.
Rank the top 3 Batman movies right now. Live movies, not live action.
Dark Knight.
Not animation, sorry.
Dark Knight is number 1.
Okay.
All right, so hold on. Live action, right? So there's no Batfleck solo Batman movie. So you got Dark Knight. It's not The Batman. That's not on the top 3.
Yeah, it is.
So you got to go.
The Batman's number 1.
The Batman, Robert Pattinson is the number 1.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like you're trolling me right now.
No, I swear to God, that was my favorite.
The Dark Knight, Batman Returns, Batman, the first one by Tim Burton.
Okay, I put Pattinson as number 1. I love that film.
Crazy. Okay, what's number 2?
What?
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight, of course, and then 89 Keaton.
Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises. We're not putting on the top 3. Either one of us, huh?
I might put Begins as number 4, maybe.
Begins as number 4. I could get with you on that.
Yeah.
Look, we got in the chat Nate saying Batman Returns is awesome. Not better than 89 though. Zach Davenport saying Dark Knight, the Batman, and then Batman Returns. Okay, at least we're getting some Batman Returns respect.
I'll give Nathan too. I don't think Pattinson was a good Bruce Wayne, but he was a great Batman.
I thought he was a good both. I don't know. It's just not one of my favorites.
You know, I've never gotten to the Rambo movies. I watched them when I was young. I watched them again years ago when they came out with the new one.
Yeah, but I don't have any. Is this list good sequels? Yeah, the top 50. I have no opinion of Rambo. It's just like, whatever. Oh, The Spy Who Shagged Me. The Austin Powers movies are great, man.
So I remember seeing Goldmember in the theaters, and I remember laughing so hard I couldn't breathe. Like I almost had to tell my friends to get help when they were singing with me. It's a Hard Knock Life in the.
Oh yeah. And then they also did the Will Smith, just the two of us, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like Austin Powers got progressively worse. The first one was the best. Second one was not as good. Third one was the worst, in my opinion.
Third one was hilarious, though.
The Goldmember, that's Goldmember is the third one, right?
Yeah.
And I think Spy Who Shagged Me was one that had Beyonce in it. I don't know.
No, Goldmember had Beyonce.
Oh yeah, I didn't like Goldmember as much.
Spy Who Shagged Me was Heather Graham.
Right. I like the first two a lot. The third one lost me, and I hated that Love Guru movie, which I know it's not Austin Powers, but
yeah, I've never watched it. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a letdown if you watch it.
Oh, this is blasphemy.
Guardians 2, that's above Guardians 3 is crazy.
This list, these fans are fucked up.
Yeah, the ranker. Who's ranking this? Oh, X-Men 2 is
I
a good
liked
call.
X-Men 2 for its time. I loved it, actually. I thought it was better than 1.
This was the first like serious superhero movies outside of, because we had the Batman Returns and the Batman 89, which was great. Then you had Joel Schumacher making them zany. And so then it was kind of like that comic book movies were a joke. They weren't really based off of the source material. And then bam, we got Spider-Man by Sam Raimi, and we had the X-Men by Bryan Singer. And everyone loved 1 and 2. People hate The Last Stand, the third one. I'm not really on board with the hate. Don't mind it at all. I got to be 100% honest. You know what? I would really love to do an X-Men movie rewatch. There's like 10 movies in the series, right?
Yeah, with all the days. I even like Days of Future Past.
That was great. That was supposed to be a big X-Men, like, I don't know what you want to call it, like a redemption movie from The Last Stand. And then you had First Class. Then you had the Wolverine movies. There's a lot of movies. Might be more than 10.
So the Magneto scene when he's in the bar in Argentina is one of the most badass scenes ever.
Yeah. Is that where they're trying to recruit Wolverine? Or
No, that was Magneto when he was looking for Kevin Bacon.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, but so speaking of badass scenes, I remember.
Wait. Zach Davenport in the chat saying, Faja, can you hear me? That's what my wife calls her dad to this day. Faja.
That's what me and Mrs. X do. We do Faja and Maja. What's a Faja? Oh, the father. So
what's
X-Men
the most
2.
badass scene?
I remember in the theater towards the beginning when Logan is babysitting and he's in the kitchen at midnight with Bobby Drake, and they're talking, and he hears William Stryker's task force coming in. And so the guy goes in to shoot Bobby, and then Wolverine comes behind him. He's like, you broke into the wrong kitchen, bub. And then the guy like throws Wolverine on the table and scratches up his face. Then he heals, and the guy's eyes get huge, and then his claws come out, and he slams them against the fridge. And and the cool thing is, then he falls to the ground. There are claw marks through the fridge, and this is like back then, with easy details. Like
the whole time you're talking about this, I'm just thinking, damn, I got to do a rewatch of this, man.
Yeah, they're good. Oh, okay.
Okay,
but I got to ask you this: did you like the Apocalypse X-Men?
I liked it, but definitely they dropped the ball on Apocalypse. I mean, they dropped the ball in the whole movie.
Agree 100%. I hated Apocalypse, the representation of Apocalypse, but I liked the movie.
Yeah, I liked the movie. I liked it for what it was. It wasn't the best X-Men movie, and I liked the actor. I don't think he was really good casting. You needed you could have used a big CGI monster for Apocalypse. It didn't need to be a prominent, a theater trained actor or thespian or whatever,
A lot of people don't know who that is. Like, they didn't know it was him.
The Oscar Isaacs, yeah.
Yeah, so like he's what are his big roles? The new Star Wars movies. He's Poe.
Wasn't he somebody else big as well?
Yeah, there's some other big series he recently.
Moon Knight. He was Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. Yeah.
Great Moon Knight. Yeah, he did great. You skip Mad Max. I've never seen any Mad Max movies. Not even any of them.
I like the original. I don't think this should be up here.
At number 19 at that? Come on, man. For now, we're in the top 20. This should be bangers all here. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, like
I'll tell you right now, Spider-Man 2 has got to be in the top 5, man.
How was this above
X-Men 2?
Yeah.
X2 is the movie that has the opening scene, the Nightcrawler opening scene. Is one of the best X-Men scenes in any live-action movie.
One of the best opening scenes of any live-action movie.
Boom. I'm not going to argue with you.
Yes. This should be higher. This should be higher.
Rocky 4 is my favorite with Ivan Drago.
So Rocky 1 and 2 are not about the fighting and the hype that you get from Rocky 4. And I love Rocky 4 too. It's about this guy who's struggling internally.
Yeah.
And you rewatch it with that mindset, you're like, shit, this is a damn good drama.
He hasn't made it yet. He's still a bum.
Do you know how much he made for Rocky 1?
No.
75.
$75,000?
75,000 for Rocky.
That was his movie. He wrote the movie and everything.
Yeah.
And his brother is the one that performed all those songs, "Eye of the Tiger" and all that shit. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, and you know how he found Mr. T, right? He was at a club when he was writing Rocky 3, and Mr. T was a bouncer, and he's like, "You're who I'm going to fight," and he's like, "Are you an actor?" And he pulled him out.
Yeah, damn. Mr. T is crazy. He was in Rocky 3, right?
Yeah, as the bad guy.
He kills. What's his trainer's name again?
Mickey.
Mickey, that's right. He kills Mickey, right, when he punches him, or he dies later on.
Yeah, he throws him against the table. Burgess Meredith, amazing actor.
I've never seen this movie.
It is so good. It is
That's
better
right
than
here.
I thought. Top Gun 1 at the time was amazing. We don't go to the theater anymore for reasons we talked about in a previous podcast. In the theater, this was amazing. I think this should be higher, personally. I think this is one of the top 10 best sequels.
But it's so new; it's hard to put it in that top. It's already in the top 20, almost the top 15. Come on, man.
The Shrek movies are great. I haven't watched them in about 15 years since my children were young, but they're good.
Yeah, I think I've seen the first one maybe, and that might have been about it. Michael Myers again. What? Who else is in it? Is it Eddie Murphy? Is one of the voices?
Yeah, Cameron Diaz. John Lithgow is. Well, I think he was in the first one as the king.
Lethal Weapon 2. Yeah, I put it up there with Beverly Hills Cop.
I love the Lethal Weapons a lot more than that. I think 4 was one of the best ones, actually, on top of 1.
This is crazy. Deadpool 2 is number 13. That's crazy, man. I wouldn't even put it on this list.
I would agree.
If you're not better than the original, you shouldn't even make it on the top sequels. It's like this should be reserved for I don't know. Maybe there's not 50 movies. Back to the Future 2, I agree with.
So I think it should be lower, other than the fact all the cool shit it came out with when we saw it in '89, when we saw power laces and flying cars. That was amazing, and that was supposed to be 9 years ago.
It's all about the hoverboard, man.
Yeah. Everybody wanted.
I like Back to the Future better than the 2, better than 1.
I think.
Here's the Wrath of Khan right here.
Yep, I agree with this.
That's number 11.
The old ones. I haven't watched these for so long, couldn't tell you.
But I've seen the first one a gang of times though, because this was like the stuff that we would give our kids on their little DVD players.
Watch over and over.
Yeah, my daughter would watch Finding Nemo all day, every day, just running, finding. All she knew how to say was again, run it back so many times. It should be higher on the list, but it's up there.
Nope, I agree. I would say this is the best Spider-Man movie of all of them.
So people would there's an argument for this being one of the best, if not the best comic book movie of all time.
I could hear that argument.
It's an argument meant to be had there. It's good. It's definitely in the top 5.
I just watched all the John Wicks in the last year with my son.
I just watched the most recent one on the plane. I don't know if it was from Brazil or Singapore, but I didn't see number 3. Didn't seem like I missed a beat going into number 4. So
I think I have a blog scheduled in a few days about all of the John Wicks, and I was so disappointed in them. I mean, they were good.
Number 4 was an entire fight scene. The entire movie is like a choreographed.
That's all they are. They're meaningless, mind-numbing movies, and they're good. They're entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but they're not a good movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see that. So
I agree with this one.
Most people will say this is like the best MCU movie, and I like it a lot, but I don't like it. I'm more of like a big Infinity War.
Infinity War is the best.
Stuff like that, and even me. I mean, if you're talking grounded, I love Iron Man 1, love the first Avengers movie, but Winter Soldier is good. It's in my top 5 easily.
We knew this was coming.
Yeah.
It's good.
And Nate's in the chat. He says he agrees with us on a lot, but Lord of the Rings is something that we're wrong on.
Godfather Part 2, I agree with that.
You know what? I don't know. I love gangster movies, Goodfellas, Casino, all that stuff. But Godfather just never really did it for me like those, like Scarface and all them,
Yes, 100% agree with this.
Number 4, though?
Yep. I think this is one of the greatest movies.
I ain't gonna argue with you.
One of those ones that we talked about. If you're flipping through the channels it's on, you stop.
Strong female lead back in 1986. People acting like that's a brand new thing. Empire Strikes Back. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd 3. I'd say top 10 though.
Okay.
I feel like it's a popularity contest right now.
I feel like that's like like everyone's favorite Star Wars movie. Oh, Dark Knight is a sequel. You forget that Batman Begins is like the beginning of the trilogy.
I would say this is top 5 for sure.
And I respect it, at number 2, and that Terminator 2 is the greatest movie sequel of all time, easily.
So
that's a good strong top 2.
We're not going to have enough time to go through the worst ones, but we can reserve that for another time because I really want to get to the last topic.
Oh, let's save that maybe for next week. I think we're live next week, you said, right?
Yeah.
All right, next topic, last topic of the evening. We're going to breeze through Gem Mint's patented top 3 scams of life. So let me see. Let's start off with taxes. I think everybody could agree that taxes are a huge scam. So let's break down taxes, right? You work for a job, you get a paycheck, they take taxes out, right?
Stop. You already jumped ahead.
Okay.
When that employer cuts you a check for, say, $1,000,
yeah,
they have to pay taxes. And I'm not talking about the taxes that come out of your check. They have to pay payroll taxes. They have to pay the government. As a business owner, I know this, just to be able to write you a check. Jim, if I wrote you a check for $1,000, I have to write the government about $180 just so I can do that. And I'm not talking about anything that comes out of your check.
Before I get paid, before I get my check for working, government has already taxed the employer. Then I get my money, right? So then I take my money, I go buy something, I got to pay taxes on it. Let's say I buy a collectible. Let's say I hold on to it for 6 months. I go to sell it, I got to pay taxes on it there. Where's the other one? Help me out here. And there's basically your same dollar gets taxed multiple times.
You're forgetting about other things. So like property tax, once you pay your home off in full, you still have to pay tax on it.
For life. And let's say because I had a home that was paid off. Let's say you don't pay your property tax, but you own your home outright. The government can take your home. And at the end of the year, even though you've got, your employer got taxed, you get your money, everything you buy gets taxed. At the end of the year, you have to pay taxes when you file your taxes. So go ahead.
I'll play the advocate for you, even though, with no disrespect to, people out there, I'm not a billionaire so I probably pay more taxes than most people. I pay a hell of a lot more than billionaires do. I pay a hell of a lot more than, middle, income does. I mean, I don't need to go into too much detail, but I would argue that the services we receive for free, police, fire, roads, sanitation, and I don't mean like, picking up your garbage. I mean, sewer sanitation and stuff like that. That's how, government officials who do help keep order to an extent, despite our.
Does that go to the post office as well? Because that's government funded, right?
No, they are, but it costs money to ship shit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so you're paying for it to get delivered. Yeah, and they operate at a loss every year too, which is crazy.
But here's I'm going to tell you a true story happened 3 months ago. One of the businesses I have, they have an exterior yard where they store stuff. In the middle of the night, some criminals ran a van through the closing gate. It has barbed wire on it. They ran the van through it. Thankfully, it set off the alarm and the police came. That's what we pay taxes for the police to come. So the police this was in Denver County, have 2 rules. Rule number 1 is you can't pin a criminal in. So they couldn't block them in because if you pin someone in, they might go nuts and kill people. So after these criminals loaded up their trucks with everything they wanted for free, they drove out and the police watched them. And then they did rule number 2, no pursuit. In the county and city of Denver, they do not pursue criminals because of high speed chases.
Yeah.
That is what our taxes are paying for in some areas.
Yeah.
Now in Texas, the sheriff might have shown up and blew their head off. So, I mean.
Yeah, but in some states, you see they call the police and the police will say, hey, we don't have anybody to send out there. There was this thing that was going viral. I think it was older, though. But a lady, her ex-boyfriend was breaking in. She called the police. They were like, well, can you tell him to stop? We can't send anybody out. And he ended up like raping her and all this shit was crazy, man. But anyway, yeah, so you're taxed to death. Somebody in the chat, Chris and Logan said, taxes are about 40%. the Revolutionary War started for what, 3% tax on tea or some shit like that? Like, if our forefathers knew how much tax we were paying now, they would be like, yo, what the fuck are you guys doing? So anyway, taxes. And go ahead.
You forgot about a big one, especially for collectors. Import taxes.
Import taxes. So, and then you pay. Go ahead.
We just did. I just did a trip with 91 people for my company, out of country. Right. We were bringing in awards and like jackets and vests to hand out to all the winners. Right. Mm-hmm. The government in the country taxed us for bringing those in, and we're told them we're giving this to people, and in 7 days they're leaving with them. Yeah. It didn't matter. We were bringing them in. We had to pay taxes at the airport. Otherwise,
you have to pay if you bring a luxury watch overseas that you're wearing. You have to pay a tax on that. That's crazy. That makes no sense. Arnold Schwarzenegger recently got stopped because he declared his AP that he was wearing, but he had another one that he was doing for a giveaway for charity wherever he was, and they detained him because he could have been arrested because he didn't declare it. It was crazy. Anyway, but I say all that to say this: we pay all these taxes, and then what does our government do with it? They give billions of dollars to other countries. So taxes is the first of my big three scams. Anything that you would like to add? Screw his freedoms, right?
No, I think if taxes were
used correctly,
administered properly by the government, I would be okay with it. But to your point, I don't think they are, which is why I'll agree with your number one. I think the way taxes are done, so I'll rephrase it a little bit, are a scam.
All right. So next one. This is going to get a little bit be a slippery slope. Any form of insurance is a scam. And they try to sell you insurance on everything. Insurance is basically a company saying, look, we're going to take all this what if money from everybody. What if something happens? How often does something happen? Most of the time, not. And when something does happen, these insurance companies do their best to not pay out because they're not in the business to lose money. They're in a business to make money. Another funny thing about insurance is when you have insurance, let's say health insurance, you pay more for prescriptions, for visits, than you would if you just are self-pay. I know this from experience. Going in self-pay for many things, they're like, oh, you have no insurance? Well, now you only got to pay $5. But how come when I had insurance, I had to pay $20 and I had to pay insurance every month through payroll? So insurance is my second biggest life scam.
All right. So let me tell you a few things about insurance. Number one is
I knew you might have a different stance on this one.
So I want to talk about different types of insurance. UPS insurance, because I've just like you, we've shipped hundreds of statues, if not more, hundreds of $5,000 statues. I used to get insurance on every single one. I've had 5 claims with UPS because they broke it. They denied every single one, and I had paid the insurance, so I don't do it anymore.
I've only ever paid for package insurance to give that person peace of mind if they ask for it. I've never once have gone through a process of getting a refund. If there was ever a breakage on something I shipped, I just had to eat it, whatever it was, whether it was a partial refund or what have you. So that's definitely one type of scam, that postal insurance scam.
Here's another one.
Insurance.
Remember, I think it was 21 Comic-Con New York, the first year they reopened Comic-Con after COVID.
Right.
On my hotel, I bought travel insurance because I booked it way in advance. And I was just like, I don't know. So I booked travel insurance.
I did the same thing. Yeah.
Well, and then if you recall, at the last minute, me and Mrs. X, we told you, hey, we're not going. We're going to go to Cancun instead. So I went to cancel it using my travel insurance, and health and medical and all that was a listed reason. They said COVID doesn't count. They did not. I paid $2,000 for a hotel. They did not give it back to me.
So this happened to me in 2020 for New York Comic Con. I paid for the flights with flight insurance, and I paid for the hotel. Now the hotel didn't charge us because the hotel is different. They don't take the money until you check in. So it was the New Yorker, which is where I used to always stay. And it was like $3,500. They were like, no problem, whatever. They canceled the reservation. But the plane tickets would not refund my money. Even when I went through their whole insurance thing, I'm like, dude, they're not letting me into the state. I can't take this flight. And I even tried to file a claim on my credit card. My credit card denied the claim. And usually, if you file a claim with your credit card, they got your back no matter what. I couldn't believe.
I disagree with that.
With the credit card thing?
Yeah, because anyway, so I've a few more things. All right. In my life, other than health insurance, I've had children, so I use health insurance for that. But
same. Yeah.
house and auto insurance, the easily $500,000 I've paid in. I have had one roof replaced in my life. Nothing on cars. Never had an at-fault accident.
The only thing with cars is that if you get into an accident, again, and many people get into accidents and then, you need insurance. So, I mean, car insurance I kind of get, but it's kind of crazy. I don't know. I still feel like it's a scam. Somehow it's a scam, especially how they're in cahoots where what is it? You can't, can you not get your license without it or something that you have to have car insurance to be able to drive, essentially.
So my youngest just started driving. And when we were filling out the information, I asked them, because, they classify how much you're going to pay based off your risk factor. So I asked them right now, what's more risky, men or women? And, because I said, if it's women, my son is going to identify as a woman. And you can't say anything about it because otherwise you're going to be labeled a hypocrite. And
yeah, you're going to get fired and all this bullshit.
Right. So here's the last thing. You don't know this. I used to work with a company that did disaster restoration.
Like the guy from Fight Club?
Did he?
No, what he did? He insurance.
No. This was if your home burns down or floods, right?
Right. Okay.
We would go in there, and if it was an insurance claim, we would charge more, and we would charge for every fucking thing. If we had to walk up the stairs more than once, and there was a line item for that on the insurance form. So, literally, like for a flood, we charge $25,000. If the customer is paying for it out of pocket because for some reason it wasn't covered, we charge them $10,000 because that was the game.
Yeah. So it's a scam, basically.
Yeah.
Insurance is a scam. Final scam. I'm gonna say college is a scam, unless you want to be something specific that requires a college degree, like a doctor or a lawyer or something that you need that extra schooling for. But I feel like 18-year-olds fresh out of high school taking $80,000 loans, $100,000 loans just to go to school aimlessly, no direction, doing these worthless degrees that can't get them a job that will afford them to be able to pay back the loans. And as somebody who is a high school dropout, you could become successful without going to college. It's a scam. It's a huge loan. They give it to kids who have no idea what they're signing, who essentially pay those loans for life. Now, Mr. X, I was surprised to hear that you have a college degree.
I have a couple college degrees, yes.
I heard you have a master's.
I do.
So is that master's degree, was it essential for you to become successful in your line of work?
So I was making six figures without a college degree, without an associate's or a bachelor's. I was making six figures, and I applied for a new job, and the director of HR goes to me. She's like, "What's one of your regrets?" And it blurted out of my mouth that I never really finished college. So I went to college for a year and a half after high school, and I partied. I probably went to 10 classes in a year and a half, if that.
Did you take a loan? Did you take a loan to go, or did you just?
No, I wasted my parents' money, who kicked me out of the house when they found out that happened. So, hey, I deserved it. I mean, I 100% deserved it. But and it was a local college, so it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't an expensive college or anything. I mean, every college is expensive, but I wanted to do it just to complete the quest. And I went back and got my bachelor's degree, and then I'm doing my master's degree, and I'm working full time with kids. I mean, I'm, like you and I we're always hustling. And I'm in one of my classes, and it was about organizational change management. That was the class. And I was the oldest one in there, which is fine. I was and I wasn't that old. I mean, I was still in my 20s, but and the teacher brought up the same question. Well, she brought up, what's more important, book smarts or street smarts? And all these fucking little runty ass kids are all book smarts. Hell no. And then finally it comes to me, and I was like, I make more money than all your parents combined. I mean, because I was making really good money by that time. And I'm just like, I totally agree. If you ask me if I'm going to hire someone, 100% I want them to have socialization skills and street smarts. Now, with that being said, eventually I got, for a lot of reasons, but I got into the executive world, so, VPs and CEOs and stuff. You have a 1 in 1,000 chance of getting those positions without a college degree. I'm not saying you need to learn what the college degree says to get there, but it has to be on your resume.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. Well, so I went and did college online and in person when I was working for FPL. I had been there for years. I was getting into management, and they really wanted me to have it. So I was doing it, and the same with you. I was like one of the older people in the class. I was close to getting my associate's degree, but then it got to the point where I ended up moving to El Paso, and then eventually I would leave. But I wasn't learning anything that was vital to what I was doing. It was just to have the piece of paper so they can justify the salary, kind of a thing, but they were paying for it. However, I had to pay for books. And the biggest scam of college, I think, is the books. And the fact that the teachers publish it and they reorganize the chapters every year so that you have to buy the new version is crazy expensive. It's just a scam all the way around, even more now than ever. I think.
But I'll tell you this, as an employer, if someone has a college degree, it does show that they were able to do something difficult that took a long time.
And invest in themselves.
And that doesn't mean someone without it can't do that, but it's proof that they've done it.
No, I totally get it. Working in a corporate environment and moving up, there comes a point where you have to have it to justify it. And you put in the time, you put in the effort, you put in the money to do it. Now you got it. Now they can justify you to pay this, that.
And I'll be honest, I learned some good stuff. I would say only 20% of it is actually applicable. It's just like high school and elementary. I mean, how often do you fucking use physics?
Well, remember they said your teachers would say, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket everywhere you go.
on my Apple Watch. Yeah, no, I know. I disagree with you that it's a scam. I think it's useful, but I don't think it's necessary to be successful. That I would rephrase
you're more on my side than I thought you were going to be on that one.
Just because I have one doesn't mean, Well, I'll tell you what's a scam. Between my wife and I, so my wife's been a stay-at-home mom for 17 years almost, and she has a college degree. She has a bachelor's degree, but obviously she doesn't use it.
Right.
And between us, we paid off over $100,000 in student loans.
I wonder if your wife would say college is a scam?
Yeah, she probably would. But here's the funny, and don't get me wrong, when I say she's a stay-at-home mom, she backs
First of all, I know
everything.
I have an idea of what she does. And
exactly, you know exactly because you're in the same situation.
They're basically full-time employees of whatever hustle we got going on.
Correct. Absolutely correct. But
head of logistics, manager of operations, shipping department, fucking order input, they do everything.
Right. But I paid it off myself. I chose to have that debt. I paid it off myself.
Right.
So the big scam is forgiving those fucking people.
The forgiveness that should be illegal. It's basically bribing somebody with money to vote for you. And then the kicker is to not even do it.
No, but they are doing. The Supreme Court told you couldn't, and you're still doing it.
But of course, you shouldn't be able to do it. What about everybody that did it, that had to pay it off? Why are you so special that you can have yours forgiven? That's crazy, man.
Well, it's funny too. People are like, "Well, back then you could buy a house for $130,000. You still can. You can't in L.A. or Denver, Colorado, but
go to
you
Arkansas
still can.
or some shit. You'll be good."
Yeah, and it's like my wife and I. We owned a home when our joint income full time. We owned a nice home, not it was 1,200 square feet. Our joint income was $42,000 a year. Our joint income, and
I gotta tell you,
we had our own home.
When I bought my first house, I was making $50,000 a year, solo income, bought a $200,000 house. Now the side hustles helped us to pay it off, and luckily we sold it at $300,000. So we did really well on that house, and that's why home ownership is so important. One thing I try to teach my kids, and maybe we could talk about this in a future episode, is, man, don't be wasting your life renting. You got to buy.
But right now with interest rates, that's a tough pill.
Yeah, but what's the thing? You buy your loan, but you marry your loan, but you date your interest rate. Essentially, you can refinance when interest rates get better.
You could, but right now you're probably going to pay 20-30% more payments because of that, and some people can't afford that.
Yeah, well, you got to get what you can afford, and with high interest rates, that just means it's not just the total dollar amount you could afford, but what's the monthly payment that you could afford.
Yeah. But that might have you living in a crack den right now.
Well, you got to be savvy where you buy. You got location matters, and
true enough. Yeah.
Well, all right, so that went good. So it's the top 3 scams. We're going to end this one off. We'll be back next week. What are we doing, Saturday or Friday again?
We'll talk offline, probably Saturday, because I'm on that same flight Friday night. And we can't trust the airlines to be on time. That should be a topic.
And we've actually noticed airlines lying about the arrival times to give themselves a buffer.
So when I always fly United because they have a hub here, and
I'll talk offline with you. I would not fly United right
now. I know. I heard about your experience, but remember, I'm flying first class. But
that's not the reason why. I'll tell you offline.
Okay, but on my app, I turn on my notifications for my flight. I go into the where the flight's coming from, and I turn on those notifications. You don't know how often the flight that's coming lands 30 minutes after I'm supposed to board, and my flight hasn't been delayed yet.
Yeah.
It's like they fucking know, and they don't tell you.
I landed like 50 minutes early, I think, when I came back on my last flight here. Like, what the hell? How does that happen? Anyway.
That's rare. So.
All right, guys. So listen, appreciate you guys who are watching on the live chat, hanging out with us, everybody who watched on the replay. Subscribe. It's, more of this stuff. We tend to have 3 topics. One of them is like current event. One of them is pop culture. The other one is kind of like something that we brought to the table, a kind of evergreen topic, if you will. So I guess we're getting into a kind of a flow here. 4th episode.
Did Nathan hit your comment head on?
Look into the owner is what I'm going to say.
Well, all right. We'll talk about it some other time.
Look into the owner. You guys, but thanks for watching. Do we have a sign off on this? Stay Minty X.
Nah, that didn't work.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Catch you later. Bye.